Value never looks so good.
Hello and welcome. Today's project is a super simple poncho for the cooler weather. How super simple? Just one seam and no hemming. Can you see where the seam is on this example? It actually runs down one side of the arm when you've got the poncho on. The key to this is to choose fabrics that are fray resistant. This purple fabric is a lovely boiled wool. It resists fraying quite well. This fabric is actually a double-sided knit, gray on one side, black on the other. And this navy blue fabric, that's a fleece. That doesn't fray at all. All the other supplies you need, some matching thread and some buttons if you'd like to embellish the neckline. Let's get started. All you need is about 1 meter of fabric for this project. Cut off the selvages and measure the width of your fabric. All of mine were about 60 inches, which is perfect for this project. Take your width measurement, divide it in half. That gives you your length measurement. So what I ended up with is a rectangle 60 inches by 30. Fold it in half. In this case, I put right sides together. And then I ended up with a square that I turned onto a diamond in order to shape the neckline. And this is how you do it. You measure down about 10 inches on the fold line. And you also measure down about 10 inches from on the hem line and cut. So what you're going to do is cut that line of fabric there to open up to give you the triangle flap that you see here. Then you have to create your hem. You're going to be sewing from your mark of the needle down to the bottom, about a 1/2 inch width for your seam. That's really all there is to do. Because this is fray resistant, you don't even have to turn it inside out if you don't want to. You can, I did on this example, but otherwise you could just leave the seam like that. The other examples I have for you are also very simple to construct. Let's take a look at the one made of fleece. For this fleece version of the cape, I changed up the style 2 ways. I decided to round off the bottom point at the knee level. And to get the curve for that, all I did was get a plate out of my kitchen and I used that to trace to get the curve. And then I decided I wanted to run a line of fringe down that arm seam because fleece fringes beautifully. So what I did is for this seam, I used it a little bit wider. Instead of 1/2 inch, I used 3/4 of an inch. And then I went back and I clipped about every 1/4 inch to get that fringe. Now there's a way to make it even fluffier if you'd like. All you do from your scraps is you cut a strip about 1.25 inches long. And when you're doing your layering of that shoulder seam, you're just going to lay that strip in between the front and the back pieces. So here I've been doing it and I have some pins in, and there you see that strip laid in there. I would just finish pinning all the way along and then sewing with that 3/4 inch hem and going back and clipping to create an even fluffier fringe. For the knit version of the cape, what I wanted to do down the arm seam is run a line of piping. And this was pretty easy to do. Basically, I used the same idea as the fringe, but I cut my scrap a little bit wider. I cut it 2 inches, and then I folded it so the color I wanted to show down the seam line is on the outside. And that's what I laid in and pinned in between the front and back layers of the poncho. Again, seaming with a hem of about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. These ponchos are great for fall and spring. You can wear them on top of a blouse. You can wear them on top of a sweater. They'll keep you warm.
Value never looks so good.